Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. Before we go into what we have in this very episode, I would love to tell you our subscribers and followers that, due to sometimes the problems we do face in doing the uploads, which has prevented us from uploading videos for you our lovely followers, we wish to inform you that we will link our other channel in our next upload so that we can always go there to listen to the other videos. We humbly apologize for not coming your way with videos for days now. Thank you again for always sticking to us. We do appreciate you greatly. Now, in this episode, we have the continuation of the confession from our beautiful sister, who was sharing with us how she was initiated into lesbianism by someone that she looked up to when growing up. Now, she feels she might meet her end if things does not change in her life. She is really suffering from the consequences of the things she got herself involved with. I will entreat you all to pay much attention to what our dear sister has for us all. I wouldn't want to take much of your time, so let us all go and listen to what our brother has for us. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
That day, I had the shock of my life. My friend told me that the woman I have been having all that fun and life with was actually a pastor who owns her own church. How was this possible? I asked my friend so many questions that she told me that the house that the woman took me to was not actually her main house. Because she was actually married and that she and the husband do have 2 children together. So she has that house where she does all her other or secret stuff there. And she, my friend, had actually been to the house before. This was too much for me to swallow. So I started giving the woman some excuse whenever she wanted to see me. This got her angry and passed a message through my friend to me that, if I don't take care and stop what I have been doing to her, she will deal with me in a way that I will regret later. Because of her threats, I had to go back to her for us to continue with what we had stated and were already doing. It didn't take long after that and my mother fell really sick. We took her to the hospital and I told the woman about it and she gave me some money to pay for her hospital bills. After she was discharged from the hospital, she told us that she wanted to go to see her spiritual mother and tell her about her sickness so that she can offer prayers for her. Because she believes that, when she receives prayers from her spiritual mother, she will be well. I wasn't a member of that church. My cousin, younger brother and myself goes to one church. And my mother and my other sister also goes to a different church. So that Friday evening service, we went to this church. And to my surprise, when the head pastor mounted the pulpit to deliver whatever the Lord Almighty has given her, it was my lesbian partner. How in this world could this be? I asked myself. I was shocked to the core of my bones. I had become uneasy, and my mother noticed that. Which she asked why I was in that mood. I told her I wasn't feeling well all of a sudden. Of course, I needed to lie so she cannot know about it. I thought this woman had not seen me, so I just wanted to rush back home after the service. My mother was supposed to see her for prayers like I said earlier. So I told my mother I wanted to rush back home and get some medicine so she can just go ahead with her seeing the woman whilst I on the other hand go and buy medicine. When I stepped out of the church building, someone came and called me that the woman wants to see me. So therefore, I should wait and shouldn't rush back home. So I returned to the place where my mother was sitting. She asked why I'd returned, and I told her the pastor had asked someone to come and call me to wait for her. She wanted to know if I knew her from anywhere, and I said no. I reminded her that she is fully aware of the fact that that very day was my first time of coming to that church. She then told me that maybe she has seen something about me and wanted to talk to me about it. She continued to tell me that God really speaks through her and she hears the voice of God clearly. After some time of waiting for her to finish with whatever she was doing in his office, she returned to where she does her counseling. So those of them that wanted to see her for her to talk to them did went and see her. My mother also went to her and I saw her pray for my mother. When she laid her hands on my mother, I told myself this woman is just not what you people perceive her to be. I laughed when my mother returned to where I was. After about a while, I was called that she was ready to see me. I went and sat in front of her. At this time, the person who was standing by where we were sitting, she asked her to leave the place. So when we were alone there, she asked what I was doing in the church. I told her before I would answer her question, she should rather tell me what she does in the church. She smiled and told me that she is the founder and the senior pastor of that church. When she said that, I shook my head and asked if it was right for her to be a pastor and still engage in the things she does with me. She didn't say anything about the question I asked her. She was quiet for a while and she broke her silence. She told me not to tell anyone about what she had with me because she really likes me and wanted to do a lot for me. She told me that she would call me and meet me at where she had been taking me to. I told her I was going to be busy and wouldn't be able to come. She then asked when was I going to see her then. I told her I don't really know when I will be able to see her again. She asked me to complain with her. So I told her that I cannot continue doing that with her anymore, knowing very well that she is a pastor. I didn't want to engage in any relationship with her anymore because to me, she was a pretender and was capable of doing anything. She smiled and told me to think about what I just told her, because it was something that would bring me problems. When I returned home that evening, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking of what I had seen with my eyes. The fact that the very person I had been having an affair with as a lesbian will be in front of the congregation as their pastor and pastoring them. This was the most difficult thing for me to believe or come to terms with. Early in the morning, I went to my mother and had a conversation with her. I wanted to know for how long the woman had been their pastor. My mother is someone who will be asking you plenty questions when you ask her one question. She will never answer you straight but rather would want to know why you are asking those questions. Because she brought up her usual attitude, I got up and decided not to push further. That same day, I had a message from the woman telling me to meet her. I refused to go and switch off my phone for that day. About a week after my visit to the church, I had made up my mind that I will never have anything to do with her again. I wanted to tell my mother to walk away from the church. But knowing her how she is, I couldn't come to tell her that. Because she would have been asking me where I know her and what is my reasons for bringing such up. And here was I not wanting her to know that I was a lesbian. This I know will put her in a difficult position. I wanted to know more about her, and so I asked my younger sister about their pastor. Since she has been going to the church with my mother, I asked her if their woman pastor has a husband and children. She told me that, yes, indeed she has a husband and they have just one child who is a boy. We wanted to know why I was asking about the woman, and I told her that I wanted to start visiting their church but needed to know the kind of pastor who is leading them. She was happy to hear that from me. But that was never part of the things I wanted to do in my life. During this time that I had completed secondary school, I knew there was no way I was going to go to the university because my family will not be able to afford the bills for my university education. I also wanted to further my education. One day, my friend from the secondary school who introduced me to the woman called me. She asked me to meet her because she had something important for us to discuss. I went to meet her, only for her to come with this same woman that I was trying very hard to avoid. In this world, I have come to realize the dangers in having friends who do not have your basic interest at heart. The woman asked me why I have been avoiding her. I told her there was no reason, I just wanted to be away from her. She smiled and asked me if I really think that would be possible. She continued to say that, if I don't know, she has all the city covered and can get me anytime she wants. She does not want to bring force in our relationship because she truly likes everything about me. She then brought up my education. She asked me if I wanted to further my education. I told her yes, that I really wanted to. She then told me that she is willing to pay for everything as far as my tuition is concerned. This is only when I come back to my senses as per what she wanted from me. That was for me to come back to her as her lover. I told her that I can only come back to her as her lover if she agrees to rent an apartment for me in addition to paying my tuition fees at the tertiary level. This she gladly agreed to do. That very day she gave me and my friend some amount. In addition, she wrote a check for me to use to pay for the apartment when K gets one. And she said that if it does not reach, I should let her know. That same day, she went with me to the hotel and made love to me. Mind you, all this while I had never gone down on her. She didn't allow me to eat her private part out like she normally do to me. She only allows me to do anything to her but not her private part. Honestly, that day, what I felt during that time I was with her, I had never felt same before. This was the best feeling I had felt ever throughout my time with her. That day, she told me all the good things I ever wanted to hear in my life. During that week, she made sure that I get the apartment for myself. This, she said, will even be nice, since we wouldn't be meeting at the hotel. So, instead for us to meet in the hotel, we will meet at the apartment I am going to have. So when I first got the apartment and she visited me, I asked her why she has never allowed me to also go down on her before. She looked at me in the face and told me that there is something that she wants to tell me. But she would do that at the right time. I didn't think so much about it. And so, we continued our relationship until one day when my mother visited me. My younger sister knew where I was staying and so, she brought my mother without informing me. My mother unfortunately came to meet me and my lover making love. This is also the same woman who happens to be her spiritual mother. My mother couldn't stand on her feet after seeing what was happening. She fell unconscious and was rushed to the hospital. I never knew my mother had heart problems. And as a result, we never knew my mother had even died on our way to the hospital. This was when we got to the hospital that we realized she was gone long time. This was such a difficult pill for me to swallow. My younger sister seeing me in that act and my mother dying as a result of that is something that has been eating me up all this time. And I feel like sharing my experience with people to create the awareness of how innocent young girls are being lured into these kinds of acts in the secondary schools. If you are a parent and you are listening to me, please, I would like to tell you to be so much close to your girls in the secondary schools. Be someone they can confide in when they encounter any difficulties or problems in their lives. Had I been able to open about this to my mother, maybe things might not be like this. I wish I could turn back the hands of time. I hope my story serves as a lesson to someone out there.
Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. After listening to this story, I will say that I leave everything to our viewers to foment and share their experiences with us, or if only you have experienced something like this. Let me talk about what really is happening in this generation. Our people and loved ones are gradually being deceived into thinking that their lives depend on these pastors. If you listen to some of these things, you wonder where this world is now turning into. How the very people who are supposed to teach the young generation the good values are the very same people leading them to destruction. Pastors cannot make mistakes, and as if they cannot also do things that are dangerous. I always say that, know the God your Lord for yourself. And do not see God from someone's perspective. Because you might not know their sources and the kind of things they do behind the scenes before they come and tell you the supposed word of God. I just hope that we honestly take the important lessons from these stories to better our lives and decisions. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.